So, approaching the area of study in Year 11, you might seem really daunted because at this point it's a new topic, a topic which you've never looked at before, and something which you might seem a little bit afraid of based on the fact that it seems so new. But you shouldn't worry about this because there are a number of different techniques which you can use to really break down your area of study and provide a much more approachable topic which at the end of the day you're going to be able to easily tackle. So the first one of these techniques is the mind map. And the mind map allows you to show assumptions about the topic. And it also demonstrates the connections between the themes. So with a mind map, you not only write your theme in the middle, so in the middle you write journeys or whatever your area of study is. You fill the outside with all your ideas and then can connect your ideas to each other to show perhaps later how you can draw connections between paragraphs and themes in your essays. This also allows you to demonstrate different directions around a key theme. So you're not just looking at one area, but really diverging and looking at all the different ways in which belonging is related to your text. And this really mirrors the area of study itself, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be writing a boring essay which only addresses one theme. You really want to have an essay which addresses a number of the sub-elements which are related to belonging. The second technique which you can use is the use of a dictionary. Now, it's really important that you never just use one source. So you should really be using multiple dictionaries to ensure that your definition of your area of study is really as full and as proper as it should be. You can also use encyclopedias, and these are really useful because they allow you to have a really good knowledge and background of perhaps the context of your text and also of your area of study. So for example, if my area of study was the migrant experience, I might go to an encyclopedia and look up some of the historical background of migration and then use this information to increase the way in which my essays are sophisticated. You can also get things like quotes, and you can look for these from people like philosophers, scientists, and literary figures. These are all really useful things which you can use to build up the level of sophistication in your essays. You can also look at etymology, which is the origin of a word. And this is something which is really sophisticated and quite impressive to a marker if you use in an exam. So for example, if you look at the word for belonging, you see that this comes from the Middle English term belongen, where long means dependent. So basically the original meaning of belonging was about dependency or a need for others. So it's these little interesting facts which you can litter throughout your essay and at the end of the day create a more interesting essay which is going to stand out to the marker as something which isn't just routine and boring. The third technique which you need to use is creating your own definitions. Now, you can write sentences, examples, definitions and ideas based on your evolving view of belonging. And you need to do this until you've exhausted all your ideas about the topic. So basically just sit down with a notepad and get everything you can think of down on the page, like literally a brain dump onto the page, which is going to ensure that all your ideas are recorded and that you can use these to then go on to create a sophisticated thesis. The last technique is scouring the headlines. Basically, this means that you use either newspapers in the flesh or newspapers online and use this to create a bank of interesting articles, feature articles, and things like that so that you have a background for your area of study. You can use articles, adverts, feature articles, editorials, short stories, poems, blogs, and forums, which are about your area of study. And you don't only have to use these as related texts, but you can also use these as a stepping stone to having a better understanding for your topic. Having an understanding of society and culture is going to let you understand your text more. So this specifically relates to current events. So perhaps what you can do is decide every week that you're going to just read the headlines of the newspaper and then use this to have a greater understanding of current events and therefore perhaps understand what's happening in your text a little bit better. It's also a really good idea to have a basic understanding of modern and Australian history because this is going to help you understand the context of the text which you're looking at. So, achieving sophistication in essays is a really vital element of your area of study. Now, in your area of study, you don't just want to be producing a boring essay which every student in the state is going to be producing. Instead, it's really important to understand that high marks are awarded to sophisticated and well-rounded answers. So this means not just producing a good answer, but an answer that is expressed really well. This means that you should have an awareness of context, general knowledge about human life, social problems, current events, and a basic history. Because these are all the things that are really going to build up the foundations of your essay to ensure that you have a really solid response which the marker is going to really enjoy reading. So, to do this, you might do some further reading. And this could include, as we discussed, reading or watching a reputable news source at least once a week. It could also include browsing Wikipedia articles. Now, obviously, you need to be wary of the accuracy of all of these, but finding out basic facts about World War I and II and other defining human events is going to be really useful for you. And as we've said, looking out for related texts while you do this will allow you to understand the context and subjects of difficult texts which you might examine. So, this brings us to the end of our lesson on belonging parallels. While you're not in Year 12 yet, it's really important to realise that at this point in time, everything which you study and the structure of your studies is really going to set you up for Year 12. So, if you start to grasp the basic principles of your area of study structure, there's no reason why you shouldn't go on to be a successful Year 11 and then Year 12 English Advanced or Standard student.